Right, so the first thing I'm going to tell you about is what I've done before the hackathon, which was develop this system here, which you've got on the screen, which is, this site is called the registry, and it lets you register resources. So if you're an organization in a crisis, you've got a set of resources, you've got water, sandbags, and so on, you can map them and put them in certain places, and you can add more to them, delete them, and modify them, which is cool, which is probably what all organizations already do with their resources. But the cool, interesting thing about this is different organizations can all run the same protocol and search for resources from other organizations. So they can look at, the fire brigade can look at the police and find out what resources they have available and request them as well. So they can send out requests for those resources. But the thing was, this is developed in Drupal, and the thing was with this, it was only on my machine. So I developed it in a virtual machine. I was the only one who had access to it. It wasn't out there yet, which is where Alicia came in.
So what I've been working on this weekend is creating a Drupal distribution specifically for this application. So taking all of the pieces of code, all the contributed modules, all the custom code that Seyyed has already written, putting it together in one code base and writing a Drupal profile. There are these things in Drupal called install profiles that allow you to install your themes and certain parts of the database and modules and other pieces to make exactly the application you want. So we've got the installer working partially, but there are some bugs to it, so it doesn't look quite right yet, but we're getting there. It is installing all of the modules correctly. And we have all of this on GitHub. The intent, once I'm finished with debugging the installer, is that anybody will be able to come here to the Git read only and just pull down or clone a copy of this, and they'll be able to run it. It will create the database for them, and basically with a click of a couple of buttons, they'll have the application ready to run.
Cool.
Drew, do you have anything to add?
Yes, Drew's done.
And I did a very small little piece of work here and built a web page for the project using GitHub's built-in pages. So I created what's called an orphan branch in the GitHub repository, and it uses a simple templating engine to build a website. And this is actually Markdown that is being rendered within a bit of a framework. So it means that the people, if you want to write documentation, you just push a Markdown file, it gets rendered, you can link to it from another Markdown file, and all of a sudden you have a fairly robust website that you can post pictures on and have the installation instructions and all that kind of good stuff.
Yay!
Yeah.